right, what's up, bro? Welcome to the show, man.
What's going on, my man? How we doing?
Good, man. So, thanks for coming on, bro. I was doing these podcasts for the regular. I took like a very long break. So you're
Okay.
the first individual back on the returning of the podcast. So, Martin, man, I like to show people, what makes Martin, right? What made Martin fall in love with bodybuilding? What drives Martin constantly, right, on a regular basis, and what battles Martin goes through, right, that are
For
behind the
sure.
scenes that people don't realize because we see the glory, we see the boring aspect of eating meals, right? But we really don't know, and a lot of people don't. I don't think a lot of people realize there's a lot of different mental battles we go through.
Yeah.
And but I'll let you kick it off, bro. Tell us about you, man. How'd you even get into bodybuilding? What made you fall in love with it, and why'd you even feel like it was it?
Yeah, man. Honestly, like my mom said it was just always in the cards, I guess. So my favorite movie as a little kid was Hercules. And I watched the damn thing till the VCR broke. So I've been always obsessed with the superhero look and the big muscles and stuff. And then my dad had me wrestling at 3. And just kind of being in that culture. I don't know if you wrestled as a kid or anything, but like in that culture you have kids that are 3 years old all the way up to like 15, 16 year olds that are getting ready for high school wrestling and stuff.
Yeah,
So you see these athletes that are just incredible your whole life kind of coming up. And like I had a few guys above me that were like really great national wrestlers and stuff, and they all had crazy bodies, delts and arms, and they were always shredded because they're cutting weight. So just kind of being in that culture, I think essentially made me really like that. And then I really, really wanted to start lifting weights around like 10 years old. And my dad was kind of like super hesitant, man. Like he was like, I know it doesn't stunt your growth and stuff like that. He was never really like that. He was just like I you don't know what you're doing, and I don't really have time to take you and show you. So like here, and he bought me the encyclopedia of bodybuilding.
oh wow.
And he was like, if you read through this in the training portion, I'll let you go to the gym and you can go when the high school boys are there and just tell them you know what you're doing and stuff like that. So I think he thought that I wasn't gonna do it because
Yeah,
this, like,
yeah,
that book was like this.
yeah.
And as a 10-year-old, it was pretty intimidating, but I was like, I want to lift weights. So I skipped through the bodybuilding portion. I looked through it, and
Hmm.
I was kind of like, oh, this isn't important. I'm not doing this. And I got to the training portion, and Arnold had workouts written out in there. He had how to do every exercise. So I went through and I highlighted stuff, dude, and I gave it back to my dad, and I said, like, see, I read the training portion. I'm ready. I'm ready. And my dad was like, all right. So I was like 10, 11 when I finally got through it enough that I could
Yeah.
give it back to him, and he let me go train. And I went up the high school gym, and they
Let,
just
let
kicked
me
the door open.
let me stop you. If I ever have a son, because I have three daughters, I want them to be just like you. When you're 10 years old, I want him to just have that same excitement. But go ahead, keep going, bro. Keep going.
Yeah, man. No, so it was just I just wanted to be better at sports, really. It wasn't at first, it wasn't really about bodybuilding
Yeah,
necessarily. It was just like I know the high school boys lift weights and the high school boys kick ass.
yeah.
So I'm like, I can be a part of that. Is that loud behind me? Can you hear
No, you're
that?
good. I can't hear anything behind you.
Okay, cool, perfect. Um, but yeah, so I was like, I definitely need to lift weights. So as soon as dad gave me the A-OK, the high school boys, when they were up there, bro, they would just kick the door open and put a dumbbell and like leave it propped open.
Yeah.
So I would just like ride my bike past there like all day long until I found out like when they were there. And I would
Oh, so
like
you could
stop
sneak
in.
in. Yeah, yeah.
Boom, yeah, bro. Just like boom, stop in. So it was like in the middle of the summer, right? I pull in, I go up, and there was only one dude up there. And he was actually he was graduated, and he was playing semi-pro football. And he was just like home for the off season.
Yeah.
His dad owned a ranch back home where I was. And so I was like, hey man, like, do you mind if I lift in here with you? Like, you don't have to train me or anything. My dad already taught me like what I need to do, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, well, I mean, if you want to lift with me, you can. And I was like, dude, you're like a semi-pro football player. Like, of course, obviously I'm going to lift with this dude. So I'm like training with this guy the first couple of years, and he's just like helping me with form. But he was like super impressed. First day out of the gate, I bench pressed like a plate. I squatted like 185. I deadlifted 185. Like, I was just farm boy strong because my dad had me doing stuff on the ranch my whole life. So he was like, man, you got like crazy potential for this, like keep with it for sports and stuff. And I'm watching him squat like 600 pounds, bench press 400 pounds. So this dude's like the baddest dude on the planet, right?
He's like your hero right now, yeah.
Yeah, the baddest dude ever, bro. His name was Carl. And so I went in with him every day, bro. And we would just kill it, focusing on like training for sports and stuff. And I came back that next year, bro, and like I just destroyed everyone in wrestling.
How old were you exactly when this happened?
I came back when I was 12. So it was like
12.
the summer between 11 and 12.
Yeah. Wow.
And I came back at 12 and I was just whipping everyone's ass. Because what 12-year-olds are lifting weights?
Yeah, bro. You're just
like,
fucking picking them up and throwing them.
yeah, I was just literally just bullying people. But yeah, bro, so that's really what got me into lifting weights. And progressively through time, as I lifted longer and longer, YouTube kind of started to get big around that when I was like 14, 15. And that's when like Kai and Jay were doing their video series.
Yeah.
So then that's what really kind of made me even fall more in love with bodybuilding, was like, oh, I get to watch like these dudes eat their meals, and like, I could be with them and do what they did, So I that's when I really started to fall in love with it. And then progressively into high school, Phil was the champion, right?
Yes.
And I lived about 2 hours north of where Phil trained in Denver. So I started to be like a really big fan of bodybuilding, because I'm like, bro, like the champion is from where I'm from. Like, the champion lives where I live, like, that's awesome. So progressively through, I started to change my training all to bodybuilding by probably like sophomore year of high school.
Yes.
It was just like, it had just become all bodybuilding stuff. I'm doing like Jay's workouts. I'm copying like CT Fletcher and Mike Rashad's workouts from YouTube. Just what teenage boys do, just
of course,
having fun with the boys. And no one really lifted until I got to that high school. Then when I did, then like it became a culture. So it was like awesome. me and all the boys went to the gym. We tore it up every day. And it was awesome. Actually, the athletic director reached out to me like after I graduated high school, and he was like, man, this place is not the same, because it used to be like the gym, the weight room was right underneath his office.
Yeah.
And
so he heard like, everything.
You bastards were always banging shit around and stuff. He's like, it's too quiet now.
That's great, bro.
But yeah, so built the culture of it, bro. And then I did really, really amazing in high school sports. I was an all-state football player all 4 years. I wrestled. I did pretty well, and then I blew my knee my sophomore year and decided to kind of be done with wrestling and put more focus into lifting. Doing so, they made me do track, because they were like, you're just you're too good of an athlete to be out of sports, so you should do something. So they're like,
Yeah.
at least throw. So my sophomore year, I threw shot put and discus, and first time out of the gate at state, I won state in shot put and discus, and they were like, "Okay, you have to keep doing this," and I was like, okay, I guess, yeah, sure, I'll keep doing it." Fast forward, my senior year, I had a really awesome shot put season, and I was number 8 in the nation. So had some crazy scholarship offers, decided to go for college track because the offers were so good. And I wanted to get medical school paid for. So
Yes.
I knew I was going to go to school to be a doctor of some sort. So the school that I went to, I said, like, pretty much, what's the fastest way I can become a doctor?
Yeah.
And they were like, you can do pharmacy school. This is how you get into pharmacy school. This is how you do it. And I'm like, I'm going to do it faster. Watch. So you're supposed to get a 4-year degree.
Yes.
And then apply for pharmacy school.
Mm-hmm.
What I did is I went and I found prerequisites of what classes you had to take.
And got them out the way.
I went and just took all these classes, and then I took what's called the PCAT. And that's like the MCAT for doctors. The PCAT is for pharmacists. It's just a placement exam to see if you're ready to go into pharmacy school or not.
Yeah.
So I took that. I scored in the 90th percentile. I went to him and I said, "Look, I know I don't have a 4-year degree. I know I don't have all the requirements, but I have every class, and this is what I scored on the PCAT. I'm also a college athlete, and I'm doing this with a 4.0 in college." And they were like, "Okay, we'll let you in."
Nice.
So I got into pharmacy school. I did that for about 2 years. And I did track about 1.5 years of that. And then I quit track because my college coach decided that he was going to retire.
Okay.
And I didn't really want to like transition to a new coach and stuff. And that's when I kind of dove headfirst into bodybuilding. I was already skipping workouts with the track team to do bodybuilding workouts. And I was even my coach even knew, I would go do the track workout, and then like when I got done, I would go to the school gym and do a bodybuilding workout. So it was like, I was at that point, I was almost checked out of track. It's time for transition into bodybuilding. Did my first show in 2017, and I was hooked, bro. Like there was definitely like no turning back after that. I knew like from that second that this was the spot for me. So I competed in the light heavies. The guy I competed against went to national. He beat me. I got second in the light heavies open. And the guy that beat me went to nationals, went to USA's and got second a week later, 2 weeks later. And so I was like, oh shit, like I can bang elbows with somebody like pretty national level. And I did like an 8-week prep, and I worked in the oil field the whole time.
Oh my God.
So it was just like, I knew like, okay, there's so much more to give to this. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I cheated on my diet and shit, you know, as a first timer and all this shit. So I kind of knew like, okay, like I can give more to this, and I think I can really like kill this. So 2018, I decided to do my first junior national show.
Now, were you 19 or 18 then?
So I was 20 when I did my first show.
Okay.
Then 21 was when I did my first national show. I was 21.
Got it.
And I did junior USA's, and Hunter Labrada, he won the overall out there. I got second to Eric Wood in the light heavies. Mm-hmm. And it was you know, all of us are pros now. It's like, it's kind of funny looking back on it, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But so I was a little disappointed in that. So I went and did another national show, did junior Nats. And I watched Brett win his pro card, and I was pissed. I was like, this dude's not classic. This is stupid. I'm like, this idiot should be open. And look at him now. So,
I know. Look at you guys.
I got my hands on him, and I put him where he was supposed to be.
Yep.
But yeah, so I did well out there too, man. I think I got fourth in a stacked light heavyweight class. And my body was just ran down, you know, young kid trying to prep for like 30 weeks. My body just couldn't handle it. But yeah, man, so then came back 2019, did the same USAs as Nick when Nick got second.
Yes.
I got fifth. We messed my peak up. Ended up spilling over and just having to like try to clean it up. And I got fifth, and then that was a 2-day show. So the second day I showed up and they were like, holy shit, if you'd have showed up like this, you probably would have won the whole damn show. So they were like, do North Americans. And I was like, all right. And they were like, peak better, because obviously you can. Went out there, got second to Chuck Kitty. He's a Jersey boy too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, he is. Yeah. He's got the fucking big. Yeah. He's got the big legs.
I thought so. Yeah. And then he shut it down. I'm going to win Mr. USA. And then that just, you know, COVID was just like happened. But then after that, Nick and I, you know, we both ended up doing North Americans, because that was the first national show that came up that finally happened.
Yeah.
But ended up, I won the heavies, he won the supers, battled it out in the overall, which was kind of cool, you know. So yeah, you know, him and I go back a while, just to kind of tap into that a little bit from this last weekend. That's kind of what the fun of that is, you know, and I think a lot of people that watched us come up the ranks were excited to see, was like kind of the rematch of North Americans, if you will.
That's pretty cool.
I'm not
gonna lie. I didn't even know that part. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't even know that part. That's actually pretty cool. Yeah. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool, man. We both came up together through the whole game. I've watched Nick grow and progress the whole time and stuff, you know, so it's been cool. Been right here, you know, watching the whole thing unfold. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, man. And then we both won our pro cards. I held off. You know, I took about I don't know, it was almost a year, I think. So what I did is I got hernia surgery and gyno surgery in January of 2021 or February of 2021. Mm-hmm. And then I had 6 weeks of recovery. And the second I got out of recovery, I started prep for the Texas Pro.
Wow.
So it was like, I'm going to push up for 6 weeks. And then for 10 weeks, I guess we'll dial it in. Looking in hindsight, I'm like, that was the stupidest idea for a pro debut. God. I don't know why the frick I did that.
You know why? Because you were young. You were young and excited. That's what it was. And I think you just wanted to get that.
No, 100%. I just wanted to come back. That's right, dude. Mm-hmm. And so that prep was crazy, bro. I ended up prepping myself. I did the Texas Pro. I got fourth. It was Ian, Steve Kuklo, Phil Kahar, and then me. And dude, I was like completely shattered. And I'm like standing there with like all Olympians. And I was just, but I'm like completely heartbroken. So I remember Ian pulling me aside and was like, dude, it's only like, it's a matter of time. Like I wasn't even pro yet. Yeah. Just wait. because I was 24 then, you know, so it's like I was just a baby, you know. Ian's
Yeah.
like, dude, I wasn't even pro yet. Like, just chill. Like, I promise you, your time is coming. You know, and then now in hindsight, Ian's came to me and been like, your time is here, bro. It's really cool to see,
Hmm.
you know. So but yeah, man, so that 21, then 22, I did the Texas Pro, got second to Andrew, then the Arnold UK, got fourth out there.
Yep.
Um, I guess rewind in 21, I also did Legion.
Yes.
So I rebounded out of Texas. I did Legion. I got fourth. It was I was still prepping myself, and I wanted to go for shredded to where I went. I took too much diuretic. I was too flat. I looked like shit, honestly. It was just and you could tell my body was ran down because I was doing like an hour cardio to try to just get
For sure.
peeled, you know,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
just doing silly stuff, especially when your mind's playing tricks on you, and then you're like, I'm fat and I still need to do more and all this stuff, you know. So
Plus, you were coaching yourself, dude. So that's like that
yeah,
makes it even fucking harder because what you're seeing is always not the reality of what's actually is happening because it's so hard when you're using your own eyes, man. So
yeah,
yeah, dude.
yeah, 100%. No, man. So yeah, and then had Branch help me
Yes.
for 22, and that was really cool, man. Like, we trained in the gym almost every day together, and then he would look at me and kind of tell me like, this is how I would run diet, you know. And it was cool. It was a fun collaboration of me, you know, coaching a little bit, and then him kind of giving me feedback and saying like, this is what I would do.
Hmm.
And it was awesome, man. Learned a lot from Branch as well, and just intensity and stuff, getting my ass kicked in the gym, you know. That experience, it beat my body up, but it was totally worth it,
It
mentally.
when you were training in Metroflex down there, right?
Yes, sir.
Bro, how did you manage 100 fucking degree weather and having Branch fucking yelling at you on every set, do a max of fucking whatever the weight is for 30 reps? Like, there's like, I could just
Dude,
imagine a recovery after was just like, Jesus fucking Christ, give me an air conditioner and let me just die for a couple hours.
so I'll to put it in perspective, bro, like that year I was like, I wanted it so bad, bro. I was like a psychopath. When it was 110 out, I was wearing a hoodie every day, bro. Like, even Branch was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I just was like, lean into the suffer and the pain, like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
heat, like, you know. So, bro, I was losing like 10 pounds a session.
yeah,
I'd have to rehydrate up the rest of the day just to
yeah.
just to get it. But it was
Jesus.
like, I don't know, bro. It was so mentally, like, it really was like one of those things, like, how no one's doing what I'm doing. Like, was it stupid?
Yeah.
Probably
But
100%. But
but
it was
mentally it's like, yeah, mentally you were like, I need to suffer because mentally it's making sure that I'm doing everything to the maximum. So
yeah.
it's like you're forcing yourself with that extra suffering, which actually gives you fuel to keep going harder. So yeah, I
Yeah,
understand
bro.
what
And
you're
I
saying.
would just lean, like, I was just leaning into it, you know. It's like, no, I know nobody else could do this. I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to see somebody else put a hoodie on and come train with Branch, you know, do legs with Branch. I'm like, I know you ain't doing it. So like that part was cool to me, bro. Like, I really did take a lot of pride in that, of like knowing like, yo, that that year in 22, I don't think anyone trained harder than me. Not
No.
Mr. Olympia, not nobody, dude. I got my ass kicked every day.
Damn.
Because it was, if I wasn't training with Branch, Brian trained me.
And he's the same
And
way.
like, bro, yeah, he gave me rhabdo twice.
Oh my fucking God, bro.
Like, and we didn't even really know it, bro. I just, like, I couldn't hardly get out of bed. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Jesus,
just
dude.
like,
But that's fucking
but
that's
yeah,
hardcore,
man. So
man.
Yeah,
That,
man. And it was fun, bro. It was such a good time. I learned so much. I not those dudes, they have the biggest spot in my heart. Like those guys push me to the max. They text me every week and make sure I'm still
that's
kicking
great.
ass and training as hard as they taught me how and stuff.
Great.
So it's awesome, man. They're good people. But yeah, and then I did about another. I decided after that, I'm like, I need to take a year off. Like, I know I can get shredded. That's something I've proved, but I got to get bigger because I'm just lacking a lot of body parts.
Yeah.
Like, just especially when I did the Arnold UK, um, standing next, I could just see. I'm like, man, I am not dense enough to stand next to this big old double muscled bull right here. And it was like him, Patrick Johnson, and Andrew that beat me.
Yeah.
And they were all just, purely so much bigger than me that even my shape and stuff, I didn't have enough. It wasn't
Yeah.
like now where I have enough size that I can bump elbows with somebody big,
Hmm.
but I also have the shape and the structure that helps make me look bigger than I am.
Yeah.
But I just didn't have enough then, especially in the chest and the arms.
Yes. Yes.
My arms really sucked, honestly. They were terrible. Um, but yeah, so I took a year off, bro, or about a year and a half, honestly. Um, and it was up and down, bro. Like it was so hard. I wanted to get back on stage. I watched Brett qualify for the Olympia. Then I'm like, shit, he's gonna get to do Olympia without me. I wanted to do one with him, or our first one together,
Yeah.
like there were just so many like emotions and shit. Then like some like outside life stuff happened, and it just felt like the whole world was like kicking me in the teeth kind of during part of that. But the one thing I felt like was my grounding, my staple was like I was still training, I was still getting all my meals in. This kind of kept me in my sanity, if you will. And dude, then I knew that I was building the physique I wanted to. Everything was coming together nicely. um, I took a trip to Dubai, and I was out there, and like
I remember that.
the people were like so impressed with me, bro. And that's kind of when I was like, shit, maybe I've put on enough size that like, maybe I could start to diet down or
Yeah.
think of something. So I really wanted to do the Arnold Classic. So when I got back from Dubai, I did a guest posing for Ronnie,
Yes.
and Freddie Nadeau, he's one of the head promoters of Battle Up Productions, and they run the Texas Pro and stuff. He's also a judge, and he judged that. And he gets on the mic and he's like, "Holy shit! Like you look awesome, Marty. What are you doing? You're doing the Texas Pro, right?" And I was like, "Actually, Freddie, like I want to do the Arnold Classic. Like this is my plan. Like I'm just starting prep." But if whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
Um, so I didn't get the invite. I actually, right around that same time is when I handed the reins over to Stefan.
Yes.
So I linked up with him, and it was just like, I don't want to coach myself for this prep. I want to almost be mind numb to the whole thing and just like be a robot. Let him say
Hmm.
what's up. And there's not a lot of people that I trust to do that, because just with my pharmacy background and my medical knowledge and stuff, like I know so much about this sport and everything that we do that it's hard to trust somebody sometimes when they tell me something and I'm like, can you give me a why? And they can't give
Understand.
me a why,
Understand.
or what they say doesn't make sense in a medical standpoint. And I'm
Yeah.
like, look, man, like don't I don't want to go against what you're saying, but you're wrong.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So with Stefan, he literally went to school. He went to school to be a doctor, right? So like he can literally, if I ask a question, he can break it down to me in those terms.
That's
We
huge.
talk on that level, which is awesome.
That's huge.
Yeah, and that just it eases my mind so much that I can trust him. Like whatever you say, I'll do. I trust you. You know, down to everything. Even at first, he lowered my protein a ton, and I was like, that's not no.
You know what's funny?
But
Everybody
then he was
gets,
like,
I'm sorry to cut you off. Everybody gets scared, right?
no,
Because if we think about, like,
yeah,
listen, I watch Ronnie, I watch Jay, and all these guys were eating a pound of fucking protein a meal. So it's like, that's what we have to do. And in reality, it's
yeah,
like, no, you don't. You really fucking don't, man. So yeah, I know exactly where you're
no.
coming from on that.
Yeah, bro. I was like, I panicked at first because I was like you said, I was like a 10 ounce, 12 ounces cooked a meal type of guy. And you know, he to like 5 or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God. But dude, honestly, you know, just I couldn't be happier with that. So he took over, bro. We didn't get the invite. And he was just kind of like, all right, well, what's next? What's the next show? Because we're gonna go win it, whatever. We're gonna prove to them that they should have invited you.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, so Detroit was next on. Besides going to Brazil, which we just didn't see the benefit in going there, and I wanted to do Detroit because my family could watch me.
yeah,
You know, it's easy for my family to travel. So for those two are a week apart, so that turnaround was just not something that I wanted to do. So it's like, let's put the focus on Detroit and let's go win it. Let's make sure that happens.
yeah,
Did that. You know, obviously you were there. It was
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
And then in doing so, we knew, hey, we have 5 to 10% more that we can do. We did a
Mhm.
good job. We liked the look. But I was like, I know we can get me drier, we can get me harder, and I can still be a bit more conditioned. I think, you know, I was like, I think my low back can be a little bit more nasty. You know, I think the glutes can come in a little deeper, everything like that. So it was just one of those things where we're like, all right, let's see, you know, we got 5 weeks, let's make Detroit happen, or I mean New York
Yes,
happen.
yes.
You know, and then let's go stand next to number 3 in the world
Mhm.
and prove ourselves. Like it was like win, lose or draw, people get to see how
Yeah,
I'm not as far off as people thought I was,
yes,
you know.
yeah.
And Stefan, he's somebody that he really believes in me, man, and that it really helps my confidence as like I truly knew that too. Like going into this, like he made me believe that early on, like I promise you, kid, like you're better than you think you are, even. Like you can stand toe to
Mhm,
toe with just about anybody.
mhm.
And Pittsburgh finally kind of made me realize that. I was like, oh shit, okay, like I don't look out of place in that line. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I was like, shit, am I gonna be like the little itty bitty guy up here looking silly, you know, like I was like, shit, you know, this is where I belong. So, and he's just continued to instill the confidence in me. As you know, I trained with Brett
Yes.
2019 through 2021. We kind of split ways in 21 at the end. He went to Florida here. I went to Texas,
Hmm.
did the branch thing. But when he was getting ready for the Olympia before he got sick, I came out here and I trained with him for like 2.5 weeks. And we both were kind of like had a second stepbrothers moment where it was like,
Yeah.
why the fuck are we apart? Like we are our best bodybuilders when we're together. Why are
Yeah.
we apart right now?
Yeah.
And I was like, look, I know you have a wife and kid. I know like you can't just pack up and go somewhere. So about 8 weeks out from Detroit, my lease was finally up in Texas. And I was like, look, man, I'm kind of in limbo mode. I said, like, how about I come out? We just finish this prep together. And then I'll decide on what I want to do, you
Hmm.
know, moving forward. And I came out about 8 weeks out, and probably about 4 weeks out, I was like, I'm staying. there's no better duo on the planet. We like nobody pushes me better. This is just where I belong. This is where I need to be. So
Yeah.
I got a condo down here with Brett now in Florida, and we can train every day together and just continue to make each other better. And it really is. It's really just the best thing for me, man, mentally and physically. Like Brett's also the best like big brother you could ever ask for. It's like I'm having a rough day or my mindset's shit. He'll pull me aside and be like, yo, like this is where you need to be. This is where you need to put your head. On the days I didn't want to train, we go in together and he's like, let's go, motherfucker. You're still gonna do the weight you can do, and you're still strong, and you can still make it happen. So I couldn't ask for a better training partner, bro. Like it's definitely one of the best things for me. So I know you asked in the beginning, bro, like the struggles or that kind of stuff, right?
Yes.
So early on, I came from a single mother. My parents were never married or anything like that. They were split up. So I dealt with a lot of that, just BS, single parents fighting back and forth. My mom was like a bartender and stuff. So like really I was like kind of a nomad kid. I'm like living with my friends, living with my aunt, living with my cousin. And it wasn't my mom's fault. She was a baby raising a baby. My mom was 18 when she had me. And,
oh wow, okay.
She just did what she could did what she could do, I like now in hindsight, it's like I don't fault you. You weren't a bad mom. It was just like who at 18 years old, who's gonna be a good parent when you really don't have a lot to lean on, It's like I know that I would have been a shit parent if I was a parent at 18. So I can only imagine,
especially when you're
dealt with a lot of that, bro.
Sorry, brother. Just to highlight your mom. Especially when you're a single mom, like she did everything she possibly could for the family. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people, because there's a lot of single moms that don't have to go and work. They just give up, right?
Yeah.
So your
100%.
mom still struggled and worked. You know what I'm saying? So, that's a comment. That's like giving props to her. That she was still
100%.
doing everything she possibly could.
Yeah, no, man, she killed it. And like in hindsight, like looking back, it's like even though she was like super hard on me and stuff, like I know now it's like that's what made me like hard-nosed and like very like disciplined and stuff in this type of manner too, is because like she never cut me no slack. It was like, look, you hold yourself to the highest standard, and like you're gonna act a certain way, and you're gonna behave a certain way, and you're gonna say yes sir and thank you ma'am, and shake hands and take your hat off when you shake people's hand and stuff. And now, and as I've grown up, it's like I appreciate those things a lot. So and my dad was awesome, man. It was just they didn't get along, so mom didn't want him involved, and that was kind of how it was, and as I got older, they started to be cordial and move forward and be able to at least be okay for me, which was cool to see later on. So I bounced back and forth between households. I went with my dad for a while when I was in middle school and those years. Then my dad ended up getting a divorce and some stuff like that. And so I ended up actually living with my mom's sister back in our hometown. She raised me, and she's like a second mom to me. She's one of the best things that's ever happened to me, man. Her and her two little boys, my little brothers, are that's my bread and butter family. Those are the people I love the mostest, and they've been huge. I love them so much. So with them, that was kind of what really put me in a perfect place to be the athlete that I was in high school and have the opportunities that I had in high school, and those type of things, because she was just let me be, let me focus on sports. I didn't have
Yeah.
to get a job, any of those things. She just let me do my thing, and I couldn't be more appreciative of that, because that's what paid for college and
Yes.
all those things as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so did that, man, and kind of was like the all smiles 4.0. I scored high on my ACT. I was the all-star athlete. So high school was awesome for me, man. I'll say it was like a movie. We won games on Friday night. On Saturday morning, we went to the diner, and the guys that watched us play last night, that loved us, bought our
All there.
breakfast. Like, it was a cool, like, my hometown is awesome, man, and it was an awesome place to grow up. We were loved for the sports, and they took good care of us, and we got a good education. But we still got to be kids that fucked off, and still got to, be a little bit of troublemakers without actually getting in trouble, which was cool. Then I went to college. I did the college track thing for a while. Really had like a awesome run, man. And then, like I said, went into pharmacy school and bodybuilding, and had a great run. Life was kind of perfect, bro. I actually had a fiance at the time. Things were going good. And, end up winning my pro card in 2020. And then I'll say like 21, bro, I just kind of like had a meltdown. After that show, I think it was just one of those things. I'd won my pro card. I had the debut as like, this is what I'm going to do in my head. And I started pushing so hard that I really pushed a lot of people away from me that I love. So ended up breaking up with my fiance. Brett and I were on rocky waters, because I was just all over the place. And like, he just knew like I wasn't acting like me. Just had my head up my ass, honestly. So it was, that was a really tough time for me, especially when I kind of saw like, maybe Brett and I need a break. Maybe we need to be away from each other so that we don't burn a bridge. Because I could just feel that we were on terms that were like, we never were bad, bro. And he's always had my back, and I've always had his. But I could just feel that like he was disappointed in me, and that anyone knows someone that you love and respect, when them being disappointed in you is like worse than them being mad at you or anything like that, right? So
let me ask you this. Do you think those things came about because it sounds like in high school and then going into college, you were the star, everything was rolling for you, you were making everything happen, you controlled your faith, right? So everything you put in 100%, you were getting. Do you feel like when you did that pro show, you were like, I put everything into it, why am I not getting recognition? And then a turn, you can't lash out there, there's no way to lash out there. You weren't really going and looking at yourself and going, look, man, I got to go back to the drawing board, it's fine. You kind of just directed everything at everybody else around you because they were close. You know how sometimes the closest people to us, it's easier for us to put our stress on them because we feel like they can take it. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah, it was a mix, bro. So it was one, before that, even winning my pro card and going into it, I was already starting to just be a fuck around. Like, I was already letting the internet get to my head that like everybody was talking about how I'm the next big thing in bodybuilding.
I see.
And so I was already starting to be a shithead then, bro. I was already letting that internet bullshit get to me, honestly. And that was kind of what let me end up splitting up with my fiance. And that just spiraled me, man. She was like who kept me grounded and all those things in the beginning. And so without that, I honestly like was a mess. And that's kind of, and then like you said, then I was like, all right, I'm gonna win this debut because I've already kind of like had all this other bullshit go on. And then so when I hammered everything and then it didn't work out for me, then I'm like, maybe Brett didn't push me hard enough, because I was coaching myself. Like, maybe he didn't tell me I was fat when he should have. Like, just I wanted to point a finger, bro.
Yeah.
I wanted to point a finger. And really, like, that moment was great for me because I had to go and look in the mirror and say, like, yo, your best friend is disappointed in you. Why? Like,
Yeah.
there's no reason for that. So why? And so that's when I started cleaning up and really like trying to focus on, like, yo, why are you putting so much pressure on yourself? Why, like, is bodybuilding fun or not fun right now? And so then I got to Texas, bro, and it started to become a little fun again. And then 22 rolls around and to get ready for Texas Pro. And I kind of, honestly, bro, I had like a very similar
Feel.
situation for me again. I just felt like I put so much pressure on myself. I had to win the Texas Pro. When I didn't, then that time I lashed out at the internet because I was just like, this is bullshit. Like, I can't handle this. And honestly, bro, it was a mix of so much. It was like my home life sucked. My prep was so hard. And I was, bro, like you said, like, I was training with Branch, bro. I'm in my head, I'm like, no one's done any more than I have.
Yeah.
There's no way. And that's kind of when I realized, like, look, you can be the hardest worker in the room. Sometimes you're not gonna win just based on that, you know?
Yeah.
But that was super hard for me to swallow at first. So like that whole thing was a little bit of a spiral too for me, man. And that's truly why I wanted to take the year and a half off. That's when I was like, make bodybuilding fun again.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have a show planned and you don't have a pressure that you have to make it happen and you have to get to this show and all these things, I'm like, just make bodybuilding fun again, bro. Like, go train and love it and watch your body progress. And when that starts happening, then you can think about a prep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I wanted, like I said, I really wanted to sharpen my mind. I was like, I know if I can love bodybuilding again, I can become grounded again. I can start to show people who Martin is.
Yes.
How much I love bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And why I love bodybuilding. Because I started to see that it was like what I was portraying was like I hated this. Like I was miserable doing this. And that wasn't the case, because there's nothing I love more than bodybuilding. Like, this truly saved me, man, because like I have a crazy addictive personality. If it wasn't this, it would be something else.
Yes.
And who knows what it would be. You know,
Yeah.
my parents both struggle with alcoholism.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt that it's probably something would be my addiction if it wasn't this beautiful sport that keeps me so in a good place. But I wasn't showing that. I was like I made it look like I was just this, I hated it and it wasn't fun and I was putting so much pressure on myself. So taking a step back, man, I was like, I really want to just grow mentally, physically. I need to just grow as a person, man. And in that downtime, I did some therapy even. And I think that, like, dude, if anyone that's listening to this, guys, if you struggle with like anger and shit that you don't even understand, I think therapy is an awesome way to go and take away those blocks and take away those black curtains that you can't seem to remove yourself. Because I mean, honestly, it probably took me until I was 26 years old to be able to forgive my mom for some of the stuff that I thought was her fault. that really it was, like I said, it's what made me me. It's probably what is the reason that I am so mentally tough and so mentally disciplined and things like that. That before was like I held as resentment.
Yeah.
So I think if one thing someone can take away from this is you're not too big and burly and tough to go fucking talk to a therapist. I promise you. Now I'm gonna tell you, like, not all therapy is gonna work, and not
Mhm.
like sometimes you gotta go multiple times to really dig through this. So don't think like you're gonna do one session and you're gonna be perfect tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's definitely a process, like just like building your body, you have to build your mind.
Yeah.
And by in doing so, like it's a process and it takes time and it's every day. They're going to give you things and tools to be able to help you work through those things, but you have to put the effort forth too, also to do that.
Yeah.
But that was a huge thing for me, man. So doing that, that really helped in a lot of ways, and it also helped see myself in like how do I want to show what who I am to
Yeah.
people, because I could see that I wasn't showing people who I am.
Yeah.
It was a more dark and a Marty than I really on stage and stuff, man. My smile is the biggest, because I love it so much. So why was I acting like I hated it? And it was just because of I was putting so much pressure on myself. I want to be Mr. Olympia tomorrow.
Mhm.
All these things when it was like I I know that that's not possible. I know Phil didn't win till he was 32. He's the youngest and one of the greatest ever. Now we have Derek that's the youngest, but
Mhm.
but it's just one of those things. I know all the Olympia. I know when they won. I know practically what they weighed. I know all this stuff. Like Phil was 232 when he won his first Olympia. So I've never been like worried about being this huge weigh a bunch of,
Mhm.
like I know all these things, but I was still putting so much pressure on
Pressure.
myself that it was like I wanted it tomorrow. Like you're gonna be Mr. Olympia tomorrow. I'm like, I'm 27, dude. Like a baby in this, which is it's annoying. Like that Steve told me like, oh, you're gonna hit muscle maturity at like 30. You know how annoying that is to hear? Like 3 more years before I hit like the physique that's like gonna be the craziest. But it's like I know that too. It's not like I don't know that, but it's hard to be patient. So
Yeah.
stepping back and honestly taking some time made it easier to be patient and see like it's not a rush. I took this year and a half off. I got so much better, and it's only a matter of time before I'll have the physique I want, be where I want to
Yeah.
be in placing all those things. So it was so awesome for me to step back, do those things like therapy and stuff, man. Um, and then I started to look around and say like, I need a better circle. It's not that the people around me are bad people or that they're the wrong people, because I had awesome people around
Mhm.
me where I was in Texas. I
Mhm.
had people that loved me and they were Team Marty and they took care of me and they supported me super amazingly. But they weren't Brett.
Yeah.
So that was like my first big step. Now I have my amazing girlfriend Alexis.
Yeah.
We've been friends for years and years. And bro, she's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Like she keeps me so grounded. We we work so well together as a couple. Like she does this, I do that. We have such a great trade-off. And just doing this together, bro, has been so much fun. Like we have fun every day together. Like I love to go train her. Like it's just so much fun, man. And so to have her and to have Brett and have the support system that I have of these people that believe in me, it's been it's been awesome, bro. Like, I couldn't have had more fun this year, and it truly was from just taking time,
Yeah.
seeing what I needed to do, and seeing like, look, I need to surround myself with people that breathe confidence in me and see my passion for this and help build it instead of tear it down. And I always had like at least one person in my corner that was kind of like a little bit of a negative bug that I finally needed to just get rid of,
Good, man.
and I finally have, bro, and I have such an awesome circle, and I couldn't be like more thankful for it, and it's cool to see like when you surround yourself with people like that,
Hmm.
it bleeds into you, man. Like I
That's
couldn't,
fucking, yeah.
like it's even Stefan, my coach, like the confidence he breathes into me, man. And like now there's not a question in my mind. Like he could tell me to go and eat dirt and I would do it. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like the dude is so smart, and he's like everything he says that we've done or we're gonna do, he does it with my body. Like I don't have a question with it, man. So like the confidence there, like Earth and I have been, we get our training sessions in
Hmm.
the past few days, and just like having him as like a supporter, like we've been friends since 2019, man.
Wow.
And so
Nice.
now for us to be coached by the same guy and just have all that, like they want to help me so much. So they want to help me expand my fan base in Europe, come over and visit them, do some seminars.
Hmm.
Like it's so cool to just see this sport, and then watching bodybuilding grow, bro, in the last like year and a half.
Yeah.
When I was taking time off, made me just like
Yeah.
so much more excited to come back to like seeing
Yeah.
it, and how much I love it, and watching it just like explode right now is just awesome, dude. So it's like I I every time I think about it, man, like I worked 70 hours a week construction before I went pro. I built houses, dude. It's that shit sucked. So like, so to think like this is what I get to do for a living and stuff, man,
Hmm.
like it's complete gratitude and like
Yeah.
humbleness, and like I know like I've had an ego in the past or been a shithead in the past, and like it was all just because of internal struggles. But now like kind of working through them, man, like I'm just so thankful to be where I am. Like
Good.
this is the coolest thing, man. Like to just, I mean, this was a dream as a kid, I had like Lee Priest and Dorian Yates hanging on my wall and Flex Wheeler hanging on my wall as a little
Yeah.
kid. I went and watched Phil in 2016 guest pose. And that's literally what made me pull the trigger on competing. Like I saw that in person and was like, I gotta do a show. I want to look like that someday.
Yeah. Dude,
So it's like it just to see where this is and to see like how it's going for me, man. Like I'm just thankful as hell, bro. This is a cool ride, and like I know it's just the beginning. Like Brett and I were talking, and I'm like, dude, like like I get to compete till I'm like 37 or 40. I got like almost 15 years of
yeah.
this, So it's like I'm just getting started and having fun, and like, dude, I love training and that part. I love dieting. Like, honestly, if anything, the part I like the least is eating. So it's like, the growing part's the hardest
Yeah.
part. But
Yeah. Yeah.
outs outside of that, dude, like this is this is so cool. Like to do this for a job, bro. Wild, wild.
Fucking great, man. That's great, dude. And it's cool to hear your progression, you know what I'm saying? It's also good to know that you understand what phases of life you went through and how people perceived you. And it wasn't a false perception, it was how you knew you were at that
Yeah,
time. And you went
100%.
through that, you understood it, you addressed it, and you it's because it's like a learning opportunity, right? We're only as good
Mhm.
as, we can only grow and become better if we learn from our mistakes or whatever problems we went through. So to see that progression. And the one thing I would say is, listen, man, yes, you may have been gifted with amazing body structure, genetics, all these things, right? Yes, you were gifted with a great mind, right? But those gifts have to still be put into use. They don't just
Right.
become what they are. So you're able to make these gifts flourish in a difficult environment, in a difficult home life, which isn't nobody's fault. It's just the way it was at that
Yeah, yeah,
time.
100%.
So all these things. And you know when you hear stories like this, because other people go through it as well, they don't end
Mhm.
up in the same place you are now. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You mentioned
Yeah.
the addictive personality. I feel like every human being has some form of an addictive personality inside them. It's where do they put it, right? Every human
100%.
wants to be like, we all have a form of addiction. So it's either gambling, drinking, partying, girls, bodybuilding,
Yep.
suffering, or even dark paths, drugs, all these different
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's a matter of where do you take that addictive internal needs and do you channel them into something that will give you the best positive results for things. So it's really cool to hear, man. And I will mention this last person. I know I've mentioned it to you how I like off camera, but in my personal opinion, when it comes to branding aspect, and any pro listening to me, I'm not putting you down, please. I'm just a regular fucking guy. I'm talking from a marketing and business aspect, and I'm not even an amazing business person. I'm just saying, I honestly feel like any pro listening, if you want to look at how Martin, right? Marty goes about the
Yeah.
Martian with his branding, how he does his social media, that's the great way. I feel like Jay Cutler is an amazing
Yes.
example of what
100%.
currently how to unify
Mhm.
bodybuilding and entertainment. And I feel you do it incredibly. And I'm referencing you because you're an
Thank
IFBB
you.
pro. You're top
Thank you.
tier IFBB
Yeah.
pro.
Yeah. Of
So
course. Of course.
I think
No, I
because
appreciate that, man.
yeah,
I gotta give a huge shout out to my boy Jake. My boy Jake Oki. He does my reels and stuff, man. And truly, he's what has made social media fun. I'll say that, like, in that time when I was down and out, and in the growing phases, social media was hard for me because it just feels so negative sometimes.
hmm
Um, and when instead of posting physique updates and instead of posting constantly training stuff, um, this was a way for me to feel like I was giving back,
yes,
that people could still learn from what I was doing,
yes,
but it was to where it the negativities, whatever, it's gonna come.
yeah,
But we saw so much positivity from it. We saw so many people taking these videos and like running with them and
yeah,
understanding them. And then obviously we did some funny and some humor and
yeah,
stuff. Like you gotta change some content
yes,
up, right? To
yes,
make it at least to have not so much one direction. It's like
yeah,
I don't want to start every video with like this is
yeah,
what you should do type of thing. So we got to have some satire and all that kind of
yeah,
stuff in there. But as a whole, man, it made it so that social media was fun, and also that we could get education out there in a way that I felt like people were going to pay attention.
yeah,
Um, it's hard to hold attention spans nowadays,
yes,
and the one thing that Jake is like an absolute genius at is marketing, in that sense of
yeah,
flashing stuff in your face,
yep,
giving you the information quickly, but also making it so that if you want to dive deeper into it, we've given you everything
hmm
that makes it easy for you to go check it out deeper. But and it's coming from me, so you're gonna get at least something out of it. You would
yes,
hope, because
yes,
I'm really trying to give you something that I've learned from,
yes,
or an experience that I've had. And in doing so, bro, we saw a great response, bro.
yeah,
And it helped grow my brand, like you said, absolutely. To you other guys out there, it's worth it, man. I know social media is hard. It really is a job. If you
Yeah.
want to do bodybuilding full time though, and you want to be able to travel and do those things outside of coaching, you're gonna have to do a business, and that's this.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. That's bodybuilding, and that's social media. Um, and it is, like you said, it's a job.
Yeah.
It's a full-time job realistically, but dude, you can make a wild amount of money if you do it right.
Yeah. And for anybody, for guys, for you listening right now, this isn't me like rubbing down Martin right now. Like I met Martin face to face first time in Detroit. So before that, I messaged him and I even wrote on his videos, or these are fucking great. Like
Yeah.
so this was me pointing it out. So then when Martin saw me in Detroit, like, yeah, I fucking remember you. You gave me some nice
Yep.
compliments, and I was like, bro, you look fucking great. So yeah, I've been a huge fan of what Martin was doing on social media. And I was like, I remember the first time I seen one of your videos pop up, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. And I looked at your followers, I'm like, this fucking number is gonna triple so quickly. And it
Yeah.
did, and it
Yeah.
did. And so I'm really happy for that, man. But guys, because Martin is a talker. I love Martin's energy. He is a ball of energy and positivity, man. Martin, listen, bro. I'm very excited for what future holds for you, bro.
Thank you, man.
It was a really cool convo, bro. I know we're gonna link up a lot more in the future. There's no doubt
Yeah,
about it.
absolutely.
And guys, I hope you enjoy it. Watch Martin, what he's gonna do and what's coming up for him. And Martin, thank you so much, man. Seriously, I didn't have your whole
Absolutely, bro.
story. Yeah, I didn't have your whole story. So hearing that, it just, it gives me even a better positive light about you,
Yeah, for sure.
on top of already had, man. So thank you for jumping on. Guys, thanks for checking out the
Absolutely,
episode
bro.
and watch Martin's journey.
Awesome, my man.